Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Thank you for staying with us. The capacity to learn and internalize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in Nigerian schools is still considered relatively low in comparison to countries in the same development bracket. Now, digital skill courses is also an area of concern. This deficiency gap has been called the one final link between where the country is at the moment and where it should be in technological advancement. Planners of education curriculum are also under increasing pressure to simplify the acquisition process for the thousands of young Nigerians who may want to pursue a career in those special fields. Well, joining us now to have a conversation around this matter is Osita Oparaugo, who is the founder of the GetBundi Education Technology. It's good to have you on the morning show. Now, before I go too far, is it the GetBundi or the GetBundi?
GetBundi.
All right, then. So I got it right now.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, let's just go straight into it. Tell us more about the GetBundi Education Technology. How does it aim to address this low capacity for learning STEM subjects, especially in Nigerian schools? And what innovative approaches are currently being implemented?
Okay, so first, we need to look at something where I draw this analogy and I say to you, you have a pool, right? So you have a pool in a central area, okay? And then you come in the morning and then you find a baby in the pool and everybody goes, oh my goodness, how did this happen? You go, you get the baby out. The next day you saw 3 babies. They go, oh, get them out. The next day you saw 4. You say, oh, get them out. No one is asking who brings them. How do these babies get into the pool? So that's the situation with Africa. For you to begin to look at education and look at how Africa is far behind in terms of science, technology, and innovation, you have to ask yourself, what is the root cause or what are the root causes? And that brings us back to STEM. Now, when you look at education and look at STEM, then you ask yourself, what are the issues? Why are other countries of the world so advanced and Africa is far behind? Then it brings you back to three issues: the issue of cost, the issue of access, and the issue of quality. Then before you talk about issue of cost, access, and quality, you ask yourself, what about the curriculum? See, the biggest problem Africa has today is not embracing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics at the primary and post-primary level. Because we live in a continent where majority of our young people, the last schooling they will have is the senior secondary education, which is the secondary school, okay, or the post-primary school. And then after that, they get into the workforce. If they do get into the workforce at this stage, and the curriculum for which they were trained within that post-primary education does not or do not incorporate STEM, then they can fit in a world that is technologically driven as we are in today. So I think that the continent of Africa should first, and I have been advocating this for the past 10 years, we should first rejig our post-primary education curriculum to be STEM-enabled and begin to understand that we must catch people young, we must catch our youth young, and they must understand and embrace STEM from the post-primary stage.
How far have you gone with this advocacy? Yes, you said you've been on it for 10 years, but then you are an individual. You're just making intervention as a non-government player. What successes have you recorded? What more steps do you need to climb, particularly in getting government to key into the sort of thing that you're trying to do?
So we saw a lot of bureaucratic bottleneck in trying to harmonize the African curriculum for post-primary school. So what we now did was to create the GetBundi as a bridge to solving this problem. So GetBundi as a platform, I met with the Education Commission of the African Union. I met with those of the West African, ECOWAS, right? And I saw firsthand that even the ECOWAS curriculum is not even harmonized. Like in mathematics, Ghana has more than Nigeria. In English, Nigeria has more than Ghana. In Cote d'Ivoire, it's a different ballgame.
Has more what?
Has more subjects,
okay,
more topics,
okay,
a broader curriculum.
Yeah.
So what you find in Ghana differs from what you find in Nigeria. So there is this gap, curriculum gap within the science subjects as across the continent, both the AU and the ECOWAS. So this is what we did. We formed the GetBundi, and what we did was to harmonize, look at first the gap, and harmonize the curriculum, and we created 1,018 hours of educational content that cover the post-primary school. And then again, when I say to you the issue of cost, access, and quality, so you now say, what are the issues that now hinder the access for quality STEM across the continent? And you see that the only way that you can scale it and get people to understand it and appreciate it is to take it to technology. So that's why we built GetBundi and then put in this nearly 1,200 hours of educational content for STEM on that platform, so people across the continent can easily grab it and run with it.
So is it like an alternative to the existing curriculum in post-primary schools across Africa?
It is a harmonized curriculum. Remember, we do not offer any certificate on STEM on our platform. Yeah. So we are not replacing the secondary school system, but we have built a platform that is a support that will help the students that are in school, that will help the students that are out of school, and also help teachers as teachers' aid. Remember also, according to UNICEF, right, there are no secondary schools in 5,000 communities within trackable or walkable distance in Nigeria. What that means is, if you don't have secondary schools in 5,000 communities where kids can walk to, you can only bridge education in those communities using technology. So what we are saying to Nigerian government is very simple. This is the time to support STEM education if you want unemployment to reduce. No magic. By the year 2030, the International Finance Corporation, collaborated with the World Bank, has said clearly that Africa will have 230 million digital skill job gap. This is the time to fill it. If we don't, what will happen to us?
As in 6 years.
Yes. If we don't, what will happen to us is that the banks in Nigeria, for instance, will not find data analysts, cybersecurity people to work. So we now have to send money or pay Indians or Asians or Americans to fill jobs that ordinarily our people here can fill.
But right now we do have a country where we're exporting tech talent. A lot of our tech engineers, UX, UI, data engineers, cybersecurity experts are they're jackbuying, right?
Yes.
So we are exporting talent. So I find it questionable that we will start importing talent in just 6 years. But you talk about how there are 5,000 communities where they don't have access to a secondary school.
Correct.
And if you want them to access STEM education, do you
Correct.
believe that we have infrastructure deficits and technology deficits? Do you think that these children who do not even have access to a secondary school will be able to access and understand this STEM education? Like, what infrastructure is in place in these places to bridge that gap?
Okay, so you now need to think, what are the stakeholders doing? Is it really magic to put the infrastructure there? And what infrastructures are we talking about? People are watching us now all over this country, all over the world. Yeah. How are they doing it? They're doing it via satellite. We have DSTV in Nigeria. There's DSTV in almost every remote area in Nigeria, right? All you need to do is put the DSTV dish there, and then you connect and boom, you go, right? Yeah. What is that transmission? It's satellite internet. So if you give, I'm from Mbaitoli local government in Imo State, okay? If you give me 20 DSTV or a satellite dishes, right, and I put it in 20 schools, there's internet right there. There are schools. When you say you want to train the youths across Nigeria, people say to me, oh, Osita, but what about the infrastructure? And I go and I ask them, what happened to the local governments? We have 774 local governments in Nigeria. They have the local government headquarters. Why don't we convert the local government headquarters that exist already as an infrastructure into a training place for our youths? 774 local government. That gives us the infrastructure already. It's not magic. If we really want to train our people, it's not magic. Then coming to your question about JAPA. So if you have 10 doctors, right, and 8 JAPA, what do you have left? 2, sorry. If you need 12 doctors and you have 2, what do? Import.
No, or produce them.
Or produce them.
Yes.
So if the system is not producing them, what happens?
But the system is producing them now. The ones who are jackpotting was produced from the
but
current
they're
system
being
that
used
we
in a
have.
different system.
So yeah, that's my question, right? It's
Yeah.
about how do you maintain this? Like if we say that because I was just wondering about you saying we're going to import Indians and Asians because
Most definitely, we are importing them now. Even.
but we have a system that is producing people right now. So how do we support them? How do we upskill the people within our system right now?
No, see where we get it
She's
wrong.
talking IT specific.
IT, yes.
I'm talking about tech.
I'm also talking about tech. See where
Yes.
we get it wrong.
Okay.
And I tell it to you, and it's the hard fact. If 500 people have JAPA from Nigeria, the people that have skill will be 25% of the 500 people. So let's not deceive ourselves and think that we are exporting skills. We are exporting skills, but not at the magnitude at which we think that we are doing them. Because I can tell you for a fact, and I'm not going to mention names, but we conducted the survey on Nigerians who have JAPA'd to Canada in the last 5 years, because a friend of mine, she's going to start a podcast that will tell people about relocation. And we found out that 75% of the people who have relocated are struggling because they don't have any skill.
Okay, Mr. Osita, let me come in here because we have touched on the accessibility of this particular program to a wide range of students. Like Adesuwa has mentioned, how exactly to to serve these underserved communities. Can you share with us? We have 5 minutes left. Success stories from the GetBundi program. Let's talk about the ones that you've been able to even do, so that we can see how to expand on those.
Very easy. Watching. Very easy. Last year, we partnered with Lagos State government, and we said to Lagos State government, listen, let's do something about your WAEC grading, and let's see what will happen. Lagos State government said to me, okay, Osita, you want to do this? And I say, yes. They said, go to Wesley Girls School in Yaba and try it out. We went to Wesley Girls School, Yaba. We set up a STEM system enabled by GetBundi. The kids went like, whoa, that's a new way of learning. Go and check their result. The testimonials are all over our platform. Last year,
Which school was that?
Wesley
Okay.
Girls in Yaba.
All right.
Last year, we trained 500 African women in coding for free. A friend of mine in the US, bless her soul, sponsored that. 500 African women. They were scattered all over Africa. Lusaka, Tanzania, Kenya, Nigeria. The testimonials are all on our platform to see. We have created what will revolutionize education across Africa. GetBundi will revolutionize education across Africa, with over 5,000 hours of content for STEM and digital skill. Let me tell you now, we will begin to teach Nigerians digital skill in Pidgin English. We have 6 professional courses on our platform in Pidgin English. We will teach Nigerians how to do video editing in Pidgin English.
That sounds good.
We will teach Nigerians how to do cybersecurity. Any digital skill you want to learn, we'll teach you in Pidgin English, because Germans teach their people in German language. That's to understand the concept, and then you can now communicate it in whichever language you like. Chinese teach their people in Mandarin, and that's what it is. So what happened to us and all this English? If you can't speak English, you are not educated. No, we are going to revolutionize education in Africa with GetBundi.
Thank you so much, sir. I definitely I love women in STEM, and I think that we definitely need to focus more on STEM and prepare for the future.
And I can give you a free scholarship now if you want to learn any digital skill of your choice, and we'll bring you on the GetBundi platform.
Thank you. I do know how to code in my free time.
Oh, you code, right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on the show this morning.